All right, so this week we're going to talk about the 34, kind of the bad boy of the family garage, always has been, and got a lot of history to it. But you can't really talk about the 34 without backing up and talking about the Coronet. So way back when, in the early 90s, Dad was running this 1965 Dodge Coronet. Bought it off of a car lot. It was a cut-up race car. Had homemade tilt front end on it, aluminum inside. It's a 383 car. And eventually built the 452 stroker. And from 92 to about 96, there was a few fast cars in Cleveland. And this was one of the fastest ones around. I'm not going to say it was the fastest because there were some other guys running, but we never really got a chance to line up next to those guys. And when I was in high school, before I could drive, this is what we were doing on Saturday nights. We'd go down East 65th and Bessemer, Brook Park and Pearl, and we were racing. So that was the original paint job. That's my favorite, Candy Apple Wineberry. Whole car, fiberglass, doors, fenders, hood, trunk lid, and then it had those wicked mini pickup truck quarter panels that were fiberglass. It was a Ford van NorCal wing, cut down. A little extreme, but that's kind of how we like it. I know nowadays everything is about, the beater shit boxes with a turbo LS swap and car you really don't care that much about. You race it, it's super fast, looks like garbage, and when you blow it up, you just put another junkyard motor in it. But that's not really our style. That was a little extreme. He decided to paint and repaint it. Went to this teal color. Called it the Stealth because he felt it was kind of stealthed out versus the original Radical. And one year at the Autorama, he had this license plate made. And that probably $6 license plate ended up costing a whole lot of money because he finally did line up with a 32 Roadster, a guy named Slim. And it was the first race he had lost on the street. And Dad being Dad, pretty much immediately took the motor and trans out and went shopping for something else faster to build. I ended up with the car, and we'll talk about my escapades with it at a different time. Finding this 34 Ford pickup. And when he brought it home, it looked something like that. It was a center steer dragster. Ended up talking to the original builder and got all the history of it, which was pretty cool. So we start back at the beginning. Kind of a high boy setup, not chopped, sat real high in the air, engine in factory place. Not really my style, but okay. Plisco Brothers. And I love this transformation. When it went from that to that. Because to me, that's the one where they brought it out that year and said, oh hell yeah. It's low, it's chopped, engine set back, it's a big block Chevy. We just noticed, looking at these pictures last week, talking, they did have coilovers on the front, and it had this little wing in the back. Which, if you put that wing on something now, everybody's going to call you a ricer and say, hey buddy, your car sucks. But people did actually put wings on cars for reasons. Pretty wicked little piece. So, at some point in time, we're assuming that the coilovers made it a little hard to control on the top end. Because then it went to the drop axle with the friction springs, which is what it's got on it now. We've been talking about that. For the type of racing we do, I don't think anybody runs a buggy spring with friction shocks. But we don't do what most people do. So anyways, fast forward, truck comes out around 98 time, and instead of 11 O's in the Coronet, now this drivetrain's running 9s. This glare is terrible. Back and forth a couple of years, and I should back up. So this license plate, Dad decided it'd be pretty cool. Hey, you beat the car, you get the plate, right? Create some street racing lore. And one night, he loses the plate. A couple of years and tens of thousands of dollars later, and obviously the plate is hanging on the wall here in the garage. So we know how the story ends. So we're 1998, we're running high 9s, we're in Autoramas, car shows, doing big wheel stands, some of them much bigger than others. And he goes to Hot Rod Nationals in Indy, Good Guys show. And he's running against these 600 cubic inch crazy aftermarket block nitrous cars, and ends up getting into the B-Gas finals with his motorhome stock block, big block Mopar, single shot 375 nitrous. And between rounds, everybody else is tuning and changing, and Dad's just waxing his truck. And they just keep coming over and going, "What are you doing?" And the joke became that it had so much wax on it that that's how it ended up going so fast. So through YouTube channels and Facebook posts and things, started looking into more of the no prep stuff. Obviously with Discovery Channel shows and things, it got more popular, but there's just a lot of no prep in Ohio that's really pretty good. And we decided last year, I'm going to go out and see what this is all about. Originally was going to bring both vehicles, decided just to focus on the one. Probably the way we'll race most often is we'll just bring one so we can focus on that a little bit more, and changes and tunings and things. So we went out to No Prep Mania, Magnolia Drag Strip last year, and it was the first Pour Your Own Puddle event we'd ever even been to, let alone raced in. No idea what to expect. Sitting there, realized pretty quick that we brought a knife to a gunfight, but that's okay. Again, you know, back in the Indy days, there's a whole lot of guys with a whole lot of motor that weren't running along with this truck. So Pour Your Own Puddle, you know, and it was like being in high school again. You know, we used to bring VHT down to Bessemer, and I was 14, 15 years old, and I'm pouring Dad's puddle in the Coronet while he's lining up on the street, and it was the same type of thing, and it was awesome. Made about we may have gone 200 feet, I don't think so. Figured out that the front tires that we put on, which were, you know, hey, this is great, new front tires, because the tires that he had been racing on since he bought the truck in 1997, same tires, they were from like 1975, and once we looked up the speed rating, they were rated for 85 miles an hour. So we got 157 miles an hour and, you know, 25 years out of tires that probably just should have been on somebody's Volkswagen. Anyways, buy brand new tires, man, this is gonna be great. Yeah, and the truck just immediately goes right. And we figured out that the old tires were rounded and these were squared, and it just pushed the front end around. Because again, we're the idiots running a buggy spring. That was all it took. That one race was so much fun, so much better than sitting in staging lanes, so much better than bracket racing. You could take that. No. Heads up, actual drag racing. Flashlight start, love it. So that is the direction that this truck is going to go now. It ended up, we were doing some testing in the driveway, and we were testing with pimp juice and stripper glitter, trying to figure out combinations and what we liked. These old 671s are great for impressing your buddies at the local Saturday night car cruise, but they don't go anywhere. They never did. And I grew up with that knowledge. My dad always taught me that, and then suddenly he puts one on his car. Anyways, so it's a lot of changes for a year, which is not usually how we like to do things. My dad likes to make one change at a time and go from there. But when it's down, and it's probably about time to upgrade some things. New valve train, new cam, new blower. Going with a billet blower, and not trying to make some old stuff work anymore. We went from this 671 to, oh, this guy's got an 871 sitting on the shelf, and then that 871 ends up being, okay, we got to modify 10 things to make it work, and we can just buy one from Jegs. Anyways, so that's pretty much where we're at with this build right now and where it's going. The heads are out at the machine shop, the bottom ends of the machine shop, everything, it's getting O-ringed. So again, that's what we're going to do. That's what we enjoy doing. I have no illusions of grandeur that we're going to be out there winning any big money on anything anytime soon, but we're having a hell of a lot of fun. And again, we're running a buggy spring, friction shock, ladder barred vehicle that has no business being out here with a whole bunch of turbo LSs and, grid systems and data. When we check data after a race, we pull a plug and look at the video that I took. And that's about all the data we have to check. So, again, not the smartest, not the fastest, certainly not purpose-built, but that's what we do.